All right, today we're going to dive into something pretty wild. It's a radical new blueprint for digital communication called Enkai Nodecraft. And look, this isn't just another app. We're talking about a plan to fundamentally rewire our entire online world from the ground up. So let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like your digital life is just this constant, unending fire hose of notifications? A nonstop stream of pings and alerts all screaming for your attention right now? Yeah. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And that feeling, that digital exhaustion, that is the exact problem Nodecraft sets out to solve. You see, the core idea here is that the problem isn't just the sheer volume of messages we're getting hammered with. It's actually way deeper than that. The argument is that our communication tools themselves, the very systems we use every single day, are fundamentally broken by design. And that brings us to this really powerful premise from the Enkai spec. Our attention, our focus, has been turned into a commodity. It's a resource to be mined, extracted, and sold to the highest bidder. This system, Nodecraft, is designed from its very foundations to reclaim it, treating your focus not as a product, but as your own sovereign territory. And don't get it twisted, the ambition here is absolutely massive. Nodecraft isn't just another messaging app to add to your collection. No, it's a foundational layer designed to completely replace the entire fragmented mess we use now. We're talking about a system meant to make email, Slack, social media DMs, even corporate portals obsolete. It's a total reset. Okay, so how in the world does Nodecraft plan to fix this broken system? Well, it starts by basically throwing out the old rulebook and building everything on a new philosophy of communication, one based on a completely different set of principles. And this chart right here just nails the whole philosophical shift. On the left, you got the old way, constant interruption, where your phone just demands your attention. The NQA, it's based on invitation, where you choose when and how to engage. It wants to replace all the digital noise with deliberate, meaningful action. And it shifts from the idea of data possession, like setting an attachment someone now has to manage forever, to safe, temporary disclosure of information. And this really gets to the heart of it. In this model, communication isn't just noise. It's always a deliberate action. Sending a message isn't just firing something off into the void. It has to have a declared purpose, it has a cost, even a symbolic one, and it has clear accountability. The whole idea of a free, frictionless broadcast at somebody, that's just over. All right, so that's the philosophy. But how is this actually built into the system? How does the code itself enforce this new kind of respect for our attention? Let's get into the mechanics. It all starts with this core concept, the message envelope. Think of it like a digital FedEx package for every single piece of communication. Before a message can even be sent, it has to be wrapped in one of these envelopes, which forces the sender to be crystal clear about its context and purpose. And if we peek inside that envelope, you can see how the system forces honesty. A sender must declare their intent. Is this an invitation, a question, or just a piece of info? They have to signal an urgency level. They even have to declare a cost. Every message arrives pre-sorted with all the context you need right from the start. And this is absolutely crucial. The system is designed to completely break the tools of the attention economy. Things like hiding your true intent, using manipulative, urgent subject lines, and tracking user behavior, those aren't just frowned upon. They're explicitly forbidden. An envelope trying to do any of that is just invalid. It can't even be sent. Now, get ready for a really radical idea. In the Nodecraft system, there is no global inbox. Yep, you heard that right. That single, chronological, anxiety-inducing list of unread messages that basically runs our lives, it's just gone. So what replaces it? A priority system that you control and that nobody can override. As you can see, communications from your inner family circle always come first. Then your professional contacts, then other people you know. Messages from strangers, they get put in a queue. And public conversations are something you have to actively pull in. They're never pushed at you. Your relationships, not some algorithm, decide what gets your attention. So you're probably thinking, if all our private messaging is so locked down and intentional, what on earth happens to public conversations? Well, let's take a look at how Nodecraft totally reimagines the public square. It's the obvious question, right?
How do we talk about big ideas as a society if everything is based on these direct, intentional, one-to-one invitations?
Where does the public debate happen?
The answer is a really fascinating concept called the banquet. It's designed to be a public, civic space that completely replaces the chaotic, algorithm-fueled feeds we're all used to. It's a place for people to gather around ideas and topics, not around personalities and influencers.
And the contrast with today's social media is just stark. Today's platforms are all follower-based. The banquet is topic-based. Today's platforms use algorithmic amplification to push the most outrageous content to the top. The banquet has zero amplification. It's all about fostering constructive conversation, not rewarding anonymous trolling.
Okay, let's get to the final piece of the puzzle. What's the mechanism that holds this whole thing together? What's the enforcement layer that's designed to make sure you always have control of your most valuable asset, your attention? The entire system is watched over by something called the Guardian. Now, this is not a person, it's a mandatory automated agent whose only job is to enforce the rules of the system. And here's the key distinction. It moderates behavior, not ideas. That means it's there to prevent spam, coercion, and attention hacking without ever getting into the business of censoring what people are actually allowed to say. And all of this, it brings us to one final, really provocative question. This whole system is built for a world where your data isn't being scraped and sold, where your attention isn't being constantly mined for profit. And it forces us to ask, what does our digital life even look like when we are no longer the product? The NKAI specification ends on these 4 simple but incredibly powerful declarations. It paints a picture of a digital world built not on extraction, but on human agency and mutual respect. A world where we invite, we disclose, we gather, and ultimately where we decide. Thanks so much for joining us to explore this fascinating blueprint for the future.